Hello and welcome to the Bloggers Magazine on I-24 News. I'm Gover, and today a special edition as the conflict in Israel and Gaza continues. While politicians on both sides contemplate a possible ceasefire, we'll be discussing what it's like to grow up in a region of conflict, how it affects attitudes, daily life, one's psychological well-being, and more. For our discussion today, we're joined by two guests, Janan Bsoul, a student and freelance journalist. Hello to you, Janan.
Hi, Oded.
And Eviatar Gover, a tourism advisor and travel agent. Hello to you. Thanks for coming in.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Janan, I want to hear from you a little bit about yourself and about the recent piece that you wrote for Time Out magazine.
Okay, I was born and grew up in a village in the north end of Nazareth. I'm a student of English literature in Jerusalem, and I've been living there for 5 years. The piece I wrote for Time Out was a direct result of the recent situation in the country. I was really feeling frustration and depression because of what was going on, and I felt that my life has come to some kind of nowhere else to go. So I tried to just write something and let it go. And I wrote about how it feels to be stuck in the middle between things in Israel, growing up and living as an Arab woman in Israel.
All right, well, we'll hear more about it a little later. What about you, Eviatar? Tourism? Let me know how that connects to the subject at hand.
Well, I live in Tel Aviv, and I grew up in the suburbs of Tel Aviv. I've been going out here more than 15 years to this city. These days, I'm a travel agent, self-employed, and a tourism advisor. And I have a business of night tours in Tel Aviv, in which we try and show Tel Aviv from a local point of view. These are night tours specifically for bars and clubs and the nightlife that is worldwide famous.
We will definitely hear more about that later on the show as well. Thank you. To get us going today, let's take a look at this short report on how, during wartime, Israelis and Palestinians are getting and sharing their information through WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and Instagram. Here are 3 short examples in just 60 seconds.
In Gaza, the grim situation is documented by locals on Instagram and Facebook, while blogs like that of Canadian-born Elizabeth Bartlett, called In Gaza, aggregates info and photographs from the conflict into one page. Whether one considers it propaganda or an actual reflection of the situation, In Gaza has become a source of information for journalists worldwide. For a more inclusive experience of the war, there is a website called No Sleep Zone, which collects footage of bombings in both Israel and Gaza and gives the option of playing all the footages simultaneously in the ultimate online war experience. Finally, Israelis don't wait for official media statements, but get much of their information through collective WhatsApp groups. And as a way of minimizing their fear, they can sign up to Facebook groups that collect bomb shelter selfies.
All right, so we've all spent this last week here in Israel. How do you get your news, Janan? Do you get it from news channels? Do you get it from WhatsApp? Do you get it from Facebook?
All, actually. I follow the news strictly. I need to read more than one newspaper. I don't watch the news because I don't have a TV, but also I get my news from activist friends of mine on Facebook, and also I am a part of a WhatsApp group that update me every second. We're like,
for good and for bad.
Yeah, friends all over the country, and we just update each other with everything that occurs.
Yeah. Eviatar, how about you?
Of course, from the news, very much. I also try and follow foreign news to get at least more than one perspective or opinion to make my decision better and more accurate.
And let's say before this week, when we're at peace, when there's generally doesn't last too long, the times of quiet, but usually you get your news from where?
Definitely from the news. I follow between escalations, also the situation, not only in Israel, not only in the territories and the Knesset or anything that's relevant inside of the country, but also in our borders and outside.
Do you feel you're well informed about the situation in Gaza, for instance?
I think I am, although I would like to be more informed. I try to follow what's going on there daily, to see what's happening in Facebook, not only learn from our side, but as much as I can to get a perspective of the other side as well.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, we don't have anyone from Gaza on the show at the moment. Janan, do you see differences in the sort of information that comes through different
Absolutely.
mediums?
Well, I myself, I would say that I'm really lucky because I speak 3 languages and I speak the language that is relevant to our region.
Mm-hmm.
I do see differences in the way the news are being reported, not only via news networks, but also how people from each side report the news and write about them on social media.
Right. And you feel that the more genuine reports come actually through social media?
Yes and no. Because when you're yourself writing about something that you yourself are experiencing,
right.
you report about it in more enthusiastic way, and you try to show the specific, like the certain picture. Unlike news networks, who try to just keep people calm, and not to, and also use some kind of propaganda. On the other hand, when you yourself are reporting things, you tend to exaggerate sometimes.
A little bit,
because you need people to.
Yeah, let's focus a little bit more now on Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is often referred to in Israel as the bubble, a metropolitan island within Israel that is untouched by the various wars and conflicts of the region. But this conflict is the second one to breach Tel Aviv's bubble in the last 2 years, as sirens echo through the streets almost daily. Yael Gaaton went out to meet some of the city's newest residents and saw their attitudes towards the war. Let's take a look at today's portrait.
Tel Aviv has never been a quiet city, although she is more than 100 years old. She is passionate, a tourist magnet, a city that never sleeps. Local residents call her the Bubble, an island of sanity. One reason for this is that the military situation in Israel rarely affects Tel Aviv. The coffee shops are full, the nightclubs loud, and the beaches crowded. In recent years, that's changed. Tel Aviv is struggling for normality.
You shouldn't be worried, really. Like, we are super protected.
But this is new for me.
Have you heard about the Iron Dome?
Susanna immigrated from Brazil 2 months ago, leaving behind parents, friends, and 37 years of memories. She joined Megan and Natasha, who immigrated from France several years ago. In 2012, during Operation Pillar of Defense, when rockets flew over Tel Aviv for the first time since the Gulf War, the community of new immigrants stuck together, united in their fear of the situation. Today, the wartime reality seems more familiar.
First of all, I know that there is the Iron Dome, and I feel very protective since the day we have the Iron Dome. And second of all, we pass through much harder things.
In Brazil, we have a problem with security. I know here now it's a little confused, but there it's always. If you have siren, I will send a message, WhatsApp, okay?
Susanna's parents are calling worried from Brazil. Natasha updated her brother every now and then. Megan's family calls after every siren.
I have much higher probability to die crossing the street than to get hurt by any rocket.
I'm not gonna stop living because of the rockets, I'm not gonna stop my life. Like, the only thing I can do is to just say, whatever, go to hell. I'm gonna keep doing whatever I do,
I have to live. I can't stop my life.
I'm so not scared. I think it's not normal. And I think it's the fact that I don't want to face the situation, to be honest. I'm going to go to a party with my friends on the roof. Maybe we'll see some rockets in the sky. It will be like fireworks. So it's gonna be nice.
The newly assimilated Tel Aviv residents have gotten used to masking their fears. And in the summertime, when the weather is hot, it's hard to resist the Tel Avivian vitality. It's after midnight and the streets of Tel Aviv are emptier than ever. But on a small roof, young people, mostly immigrants and tourists, are dancing and drinking, grasping to an apocalypse appeal and feeling of security in the midst of a war.
I'm strong and no one's gonna put me down. No one's gonna put me down, no matter what. I'm gonna keep living, I'm gonna keep being happy, no matter what.
Eviatar, let's begin with you. Is Tel Aviv a bubble? If so, has the bubble burst?
Tel Aviv is definitely a bubble. This is not a secret. I think as a country and as people, we are very strong and very adaptable. So it's going to take much, much more than this round, than what we've seen, to change our lives here and really affect us. More than that, I can tell you that every tourist in my business that I talk to feels very safe and protected here.
Even in this last week?
Even in this last week as well, yes.
I see.
Of course, the closer you go to the line of fire, you will feel, and the life, of course, is much more affected over there than we feel.
Janan, you grew up in the north. Things feel a little different than they do in Tel Aviv?
Well, first of all, I would say that every place is a bubble of itself.
Okay.
And it's a bit stereotypical to say that Tel Aviv is just a bubble. I think it comes from the struggle to show that Tel Aviv is the only urbanized area in Israel.
Okay, that normal life is possible within you. You think that's not the case?
I gotta tell you that last week I planned on coming to Tel Aviv from Jerusalem, but I felt that Jerusalem is safer than Tel Aviv because there were sirens in Tel Aviv and there weren't any in Jerusalem.
Do you think that the people around you in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in Nazareth, what are they feeling towards the situation? Is it apathy? Do they feel involved? Do they feel threatened?
It's very complex because everyone's feeling a bit afraid of all that's going on, and this feeling of the apocalyptic feeling that the world is going to an end. And on the other hand, everyone's feeling this push to just continue with their lives.
Yeah.
And it's evident in Nazareth, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in Haifa even.
Yeah. Could it be Tel Aviv being the party city of the good life, is that a reaction to everything that's going on around it?
Definitely, I think it is. We grew up here in a state of constant pressure and constant conflict. I think this situation has brought us to understand how short and fragile life is, and of course this is a reaction to live the day and at its fullest, of course.
Well, living in conflict, in a conflict zone, can take its toll on one's emotional, psychological well-being. Of course, the issue is even more serious when dealing with children, as we'll see in today's post.
In a region plagued by 7 years of conflict, the residents of Israel and the Palestinian territories must learn how to live with war. Rocket fire, commando attacks, bombings, several generations of Israelis and Palestinians have had to learn to grow in a constant tense atmosphere. Psychologists on both sides have been trying to treat trauma, especially for the younger generation. Israeli children in Sderot, where rocket fire is part of daily life, are taught shelter songs to sing while waiting in a bomb shelter. A park for children has a bomb shelter integrated inside it so that they can safely play outside. On the Palestinian side, the UN Relief and Works, UN for Palestinian Refugees, as well as UNICEF, create infrastructure and monitors orphan children. This is a real issue in Gaza, where half of the population is children. Post-trauma is a rampant condition, which doesn't bode well for the collective future of the region. Many children develop PTSD, with symptoms of depression, insomnia, nocturnal incontinence as the main symptoms. Left untreated, it can develop further syndromes like alcoholism, drug addiction, self-injury, and eating disorders. If the future of the region is to stand on the frail shoulders of the younger generation, it is more essential than ever to prevent and heal their wounds.
All right, so we all grew up here in Israel. Again, unfortunately, we were unable to bring someone who grew up in Gaza to show that side of the story. But do you feel like you have some, even in a small way, some PTSD, some post-traumatic stress disorder?
I think so, because you cannot grow up in a long period of time with a constant threat over your head from all around you and conduct a normal life.
Right.
If it comes and surprises you one day, or if it's part of the regular standard of life here, you are affected if you hear the boom of a bomb, or if it's just the constant threat of living in the shade of war.
Janan?
I wouldn't say I have post-traumatic post-trauma because, again, where I grew up, everything were just calm. We were, this Arabic atmosphere and Arab community there, so I did not feel that I was threatened by anyone. I would rather say that I do have, and I think that a big part of my generation has this, some kind of existence crisis, because we just feel that every second year we have some kind of chaos going on, but I wouldn't say it's post-trauma.
All right, let's hope that you are right. Thank you so much, Janan, Bsoul, and Eviatar, Gover. Hopefully, next week we'll have a quieter show for you about the normal subjects we tend to deal with. Join us again for another Bloggers next week. A whole new Bloggers for you will be here, and until then, you can check out our website, i24news.tv, for more updates. Bye-bye.